Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to Unscripted, our new, raw and unfiltered rugby league show where nothing is off limits. Today I got with me, out of my control to be honest with you, but my co-host Jai Arrow, which I'm sure he'd rather be playing Origin, but you're stuck here with me, so can't wait to get stuck into today's show. And I really mean nothing's off limits, so mate, I'm going to go at you, you come at me, and we'll see who's got a better argument and leave that to the fans.
All right, Josh, relax, bro. We haven't even started. We'll sort this out when we get there, eh?
Anyway, there's going to be no media spin, no agendas. It's by the players for you fans. So let's get straight into it, all right? First topic, mate, I want to throw to you. I think everyone can agree around Terrell May. He's obviously missing out of the State of Origin series. His stats speak for themselves. Do you agree that Laurie Daley made the right choice for leaving him out?
I do personally, yeah. And that's doesn't go to say that he hasn't been playing really good footy this year. Don't get me wrong, statistically, which I'm sure we'll touch on fairly soon.
I am.
He's been very sound and well above what a lot of people, had expectations for him and him compared to other players. But I think that the side that Laurie's picked and the players that he's brought in have probably deserved. And you speak about stats and, are they effective? Is he doing the right things in defence, moving well, and things like that? And
I think that's the argument, right? Everyone looks at his stats and thinks to themselves, as if he's not in the Origin team, they compare him to a Max King, compare him to, similar numbers to Payne Haas, if you're thinking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you're absolutely right. And don't get me wrong, he's up there with one of the best front rows in the comp, and it takes nothing away with his ability to play footy. But I think with what specifically, plays in his positions, Mitch Barnett, I love what he brings, the aggressiveness to his defence, his punch with the ball in hand. He's looking to realistically hurt people, which I like. And Payne Haas speaks for himself. He's the best front row, I think, in the competition.
Country mile.
And then you look at the sense that could he come off the bench for them? Can he bring, the bench is a really specific role these days where you need that punch, you need to be aggressive, and you don't want to come on and I suppose flatline it or, keep doing the same job. You want to come on and change your game.
You've started for Queensland and you've come off the bench for Queensland. What's your role when you're coming off the bench? What are you told?
To make impact, to bring impact. To, I suppose, as I said, not flatline the game, change the game in the sense, if you're coming on your team's behind, to come on have a big carry, look to bust the line, look to get up, play quick. So then the halves can sort of flow off the back of that, and your nine, that brings your 1, 6, 7, 9 into play. Which is essentially what you want to do in a rugby league game. So, he's very unlucky to miss out. Don't get me wrong, but I do think. He's made the right decision. If there's anything, even though I don't really like talking about this team, but in all honesty, if there's one man that I think that was fairly unlucky, I can be fairly biased right now, but with what he's brought over the past couple of weeks, I feel like my teammate Keon Klamatung is very unlucky to miss out.
I agree with you that.
Very unlucky.
And I don't agree on much with you, to be totally honest with you, but I've obviously played with Keon on the same edge as him as well, and he just adds that versatility, similar to you, like can play playing prop, can play in the back row, can play lock. He's got the ability to ball play as well. If it's taken down, if it's going down a short side, if it's playing through the middle, which kind of reminds me of why I think Queensland mucked up by not selecting you. And I know you're going to be humble about it, but I think your impact off the bench in particular, your mongrel, I think is exactly what Queensland's missing out on. I think your form has been outstanding. And that's the last you'll hear me ever compliment you ever again.
Can we get this, please?
No, but you never know. Game 2, Game 3's around the corner, and I obviously hope you get picked. But back to your point, Keon, I think is a bit harsh of him missing out. Never know for Game 2 and 3, depending on his run of form.
Looking at the Queensland side as well, I suppose with the way the game's going and how fast it is, how physical and things like that. You got to take into the fact that there's going to be injuries.
Yeah.
And there's obviously been so many injuries over the past couple of years. I personally think because of the fatigue that's been put into the game, the rules with the 6 again, all that, etc. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
I think being versatile is such an effective thing in this game. And a man like Kurt Mann,
utility role, right?
It was a utility role. He's fairly unlucky. He can play in the middle. he can play in the outside backs, and he's probably someone for Queensland who was, fairly unlucky to miss out on a spot just through his versatility and in the sense that, I really feel as though with Origin, it really helps when your team's doing well. And, his team's obviously, the Bulldogs are leading the comp at the moment. So I feel like he was fairly unlucky to miss out on a spot, especially on the bench for sure.
I think with Terrell, before we close this discussion, I think, he just missed out, a bit unlucky for him. I think it's actually a good thing that he just missed out because game one's in Queensland and at Suncorp. It's obviously the toughest place to play as a New South Welshman. It's his first Origin game. I still want to see a bit more out of him. Like he's played 64 games in total. He's only played 11 starting those games for the West Tigers. Yes, his numbers have been out of this world. If you're a Supercoach fan, if you're a stats man, but his role will be coming to the side to provide impact. I don't think that's his role right now. He's not going to start over a Barnett. He's not going to start over a Payne Haas. And then when you look at the bench right now, you've got Spencer Leniu, you've got Max King. I think those kind of guys will do a good enough job, but again, injuries might happen. He might get his opportunity late in the series, but
I think for him as well, Terrell, he should take this personal.
100%.
If he thinks he should be...
Saying that though, I think he took it too personal. Like, I think his emotions got the best of him. And like you see stuff right now, players getting on social media, if it's Twitch, if it's Instagram, whatever that bullshit, and venting their frustration through that, I think it's not the right way to go about it. And I definitely think that Laurie Daley would have seen that. The selectors of New South Wales would have seen what he said about the New South Wales jumper, and that would have hurt him in the end. That's my personal opinion. Because you can't tell me he didn't deserve a spot on the extended squad. Like,
I definitely agree for sure. But do you think that he's backing himself in the sense that he really feels as though he should have been picked?
100%.
Whereas, these days, I really feel like we have a different persona to the American side of sports to over here in the sense that he fully backs himself and thought he should have been picked. 100% if that was in America, they would have been coming out blatantly saying, I should have been picked for the side, et cetera, et cetera. Whereas over here, do you feel like we have this persona that we're arrogant if we do things like that, or?
100% we're arrogant. We perceive that, not only rugby league, but any sport in Australia. If you come out and you're overconfident, it's perceived as arrogant, which I don't really like because I feel like that kind of holds the players back in
Should be able to back yourself.
Yeah, but it also holds us players back, former player, in expressing our personalities, right? And when we're speaking to a journalist, that's why we're always kind of closed off because reserved and we're holding back.
Perfect example is Latrell.
Yeah, well he's on a media ban now.
Takes things that he says and they completely twist it to something.
I agree.
It's happened to me. It's happened to me before. I remember being asked a question about Nathan Cleary's shoulder when he was coming back from a shoulder.
I remember this.
And all I'd said, they're like, you want to target him? And I was like, well, we obviously want to test his shoulder out kind of thing.
It's obvious.
Yeah,
Nathan would have known that. Nathan would have known that as a player.
And whatnot. And then I saw this big spill in an article that I was out to get him. And I just thought to myself, the media got me there.
Well, the journalists, they've got to do a job. They've got to create as much hysteria and sensationalization.
That's you now. You're fully in the media. So you're one of those.
I'm still one of the players. I'm still one of the boys, all right? Let's talk about Rob Toia. Will he struggle against Latrell in the Origin arena? Thoughts?
Is that confirmed though that they will be on the same side?
I'm going to assume so because Rob Toia is a right centre, right? Latrell is a left centre.
Yeah.
And if we're going off what they've played in the past, that looks like to be the matchup. Even if it's not, Rob Toia is facing off with Stephen Crichton.
Look, I understand the fact that Rob Toia is a very inexperienced player and
second youngest debutant for Queensland.
Yeah, that's right. Off camera, you got that wrong. Thanks for clarifying that.
I thought it was the youngest, but just to clarify, Ben Ikin, youngest ever Queenslander.
And he's obviously coming up against a guy who loves big moments, loves big games, and he's my teammate, and I love him up until this time of year in Latrell. And watching Rob Toia over the past 10 games or so, or whatever he's played, mate, he's a very handy, classy player. And if there's one man that can spot talent and trust someone with that, especially with that job, because that's a bloody big job to do in Latrell, especially after what he did last year in the series. He's come off some good form as well. You know, I suppose the Broncos game will speak for itself. I thought he was pretty good against the Tigers just recently, and so he's full of confidence, which I don't like.
Yeah.
But I think this day and age, you probably back me on this, young kids these days are fearless.
Yeah.
They do not give a fuck.
They're different.
They
It's
do
different.
not care.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Well, it's a young man's game now.
100%.
Back when me and you debuted, like you speak when you're spoken to.
100%.
Yeah.
So I think, first of all, Rob Toia has nothing to lose.
Yeah.
If he not necessarily if he fails, but if he doesn't play well and Latrell gives him a bath, then it was kind of expected, right?
Well, didn't you early in the year didn't you guys play the Roosters early in the year? They matched up against each other. He did pretty well that game. I know Latrell got shifted to the 5'8", but, you know, in the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes, he was doing pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, obviously he's a great player. He's a young kid, full of enthusiasm, full of energy.
Yep.
I have no doubts or reasons why as a Queenslander, especially up there, once he runs out, I know he'll get goosebumps. He'll be up for the challenge and it'll be spoken about, and Billy Slater will be in his ear about, you know, him wanting to do the best possible job on Latrell. Because if one, Latrell's full of confidence, when he's full of confidence, and two, he thinks he's got an opportunity to put it over a young kid, then it's a pretty scary Latrell Mitchell. So I think Bill will be in Robert's ear and he will do a job on him.
Well, you really think that? I think Latrell is going to absolutely rinse this kid. Unfortunately for him, congratulations to Rob. Like, obviously, debuting for Queensland is something special, but he's coming up against the best centre in the game, the most powerful, impactful centre in the game.
So I think a good thing would be as well is to say, look, mate, Latrell's not going to take 20 carries.
No, he's not, but the
You've
carries...
got, say, 10 opportunities.
Yeah.
All you have is 10 opportunities to tackle him.
Yep.
We just need you to make them.
All right, so the other thing I'm worried about is he's defending next to DCA, and DCA hasn't been defending quite well for Manly this year on the edge, so he's got to be worried about two things. He's got to be worried about... Well, you look at Manly's run of form. Like, DCA could be... I know he's leaving at the end of the year, so we could use the excuse that his mind's elsewhere onto his next club.
I don't think it is.
I don't think it is either, but, you know, he hasn't... I'm just saying, he hasn't been playing like the DC of old. Okay. I think in terms of... If we looking back at his previous seasons, I think this has been his worst season for Manly. So for me personally, I'm thinking if I'm Rob Toia, you know, he's worried about DCE making his tackles, and he's also got to worry about Latrell Mitchell one-on-one.
See, that's
and that for a young kid coming into a State of Origin series is a massive burden on his shoulders. Yes, you know what?
So be in the right. Who'll be on the right edge? You reckon? Will it be Nanai or Cotter?
I think it's going to be. I think it'll be Cotter. Nanai's no, it'll be Nanai.
It'll be Nanai.
It'll be Nanai. So listen, time will tell.
I think defensively, on the edge, your back rower needs to help heaps. And your middles. If your middles allow your back row to release, you go and put pressure on that half.
Yep.
I think they'll be fine defensively. If for Rob Toia, especially in Origin, for Rob Toia, I reckon the biggest issue that he'll come up against is making his one-on-one tackles against the shot.
100%.
And he needs to do that, and I think he will.
Saying that's a perfect scenario in a perfect world. We're talking about 80 minutes of State of Origin, right? Game one. Yep. None of the players are conditioned for State of Origin as yet. And you know, because you're a back rower, you're not going to be putting inside pressure on the half every single time that there's a shift on your edge.
No, absolutely not.
So the reality is he's going to have to defend Latrell one-on-one at times, but let's just wait and see.
Quite an interesting matchup, and one I'm actually very intrigued to watch. So
it reminds me of when Latrell was marking up against Will Chambers. You had experience up against youth, inexperience. Latrell ended up, I think, got the better end of the result. So now the script is flipped. Latrell is actually the more experienced centre up against a rookie. So you never know. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, congratulations to Rob Toia from ex-New South Welshman, and he's an ex-New South Welshman. I played in New South Wales. I'm a former.
Oh yeah, I thought you were saying he was.
No, I am. You just ruined it, mate. We're going so well. Mate. Anyway, he's actually done really well. You know, he had 2 ACL injuries and he broke his jaw in his early days. So he's done really well to get to this point. So moving on to our next topic. Are the New South Wales halves better than the Queensland halves?
No.
Come on, Joe, bro.
No.
Come on. Stop being biased.
I'm actually not being biased in the sense that think about Cameron Munster in the Origin arena.
Yeah.
Think about Daly Cherrins in the Origin arena.
What did he do game 3 last year?
Who?
Cameron Munster.
Who?
Cameron Munster.
Where was he? Was he playing?
Exactly. Oh yeah, got me there.
Was he playing?
He wasn't, was he?
No, was he playing?
Was he playing?
No.
So
no,
who was
mate.
in the halves?
He wasn't.
Who was in the halves?
Ches and Dearden.
Oh, I was too. Can we do that again?
Keep going.
No.
So, hey, you're wrong.
Oh, you're lucky. I completely forgot about that. Go.
2.
All right, so yeah, he was a bit of they missed him last series. Yeah, I agree. Go.
Missed him.
Yeah.
Cameron Munster in the Origin series, I personally think scares the shit out of New South Wales.
Yep. Okay.
The sense that I feel like, don't get me wrong, Mitch Moses had an absolute cracker of a series last year. But Munster and Cherry Evans, you look at their record in the Origin arena, it's scary. It's genuinely scary.
Okay. Well, we got the guy that absolutely gave you nightmares last series, playing in the number 6 jersey, Mitch Moses, and then we've got the best player in the world playing at number 7. So that's my argument there.
Yeah, but it's no Nathan.
It's close. It's case closed, but
it's known Nathan Cleary is good at club level and things like that, and he comes into Origin and everyone's after him because they know how good he is.
Okay.
Mitchell Moses is a halfback, I think, essentially. Will it work? Well, I guess we'll have to see.
Well, but Mitch Moses played as a number 6, a running number 6 early in his career, right? So I don't think that transition won't really affect him too much. You know, you got Nathan Cleary, who's obviously the 7, so he'll obviously be the shot caller. But with Mitch Moses in the 6, I think it'll actually take a lot of pressure off his shoulders because, like you said, all eyes will be on Nathan, right? So
it won't be though. It won't be.
Okay,
Billy Slater knows Mitchell Moses and Nathan Cleary are good players.
Okay, all right. If you were to pick tomorrow the number 7 for Australia, who's going to be the number 7 for Australia out of those 2 players?
Oh yeah, Cleary.
Okay, why?
He's a great player. I think he is.
Okay, so you're saying he's a better player than DC?
I'm actually, what?
I'm
not saying he's a better player than DC at Origin level.
So
Origin,
you're saying, yeah, okay.
Do you agree that Origin is a completely different beast?
I agree, yeah, I do agree.
First of all, club level, and second of all, you've played internationally.
Okay, but going back to this discussion around the 7s, all right? I think if we're talking solely on defense, I think Nathan makes more tackles and has he has better movements in defense, right? That's my opinion. I think this year, and the games will show that DC has been a liability in defense, right?
It's all about moments.
I also think that DC has got a lot on his plate in terms of where he's going to be ended up next year. He's older. Age is an issue. You know, age is an issue. Age is an issue. You're coming up. You know, Nathan's in his late 20s. DC in his late 30s. Okay, that has to be a common factor. Has to be. It's reality. And you're getting older, so your Jai when he was 23.
I agree.
Okay. And then yes, I agree with you. Munster is going to cause a few issues for New South Wales.
I think he's the one man in that Queensland side who scares the shit out of New South Wales. And to my fact, Cameron Munster's state of origin. That's all.
I think the kicking game, Queensland's kicking game is you guys got to ace up your sleeve in terms of Cameron Munster's left foot,
right foot.
Plus
we don't got Callan Ponga out the back.
Yep, we don't got that. But we've got obviously Dylan Edwards. We've got
Harry Grant's short kicking game as well.
Yep. So you might have us there, but I do believe that New South Wales have the edge when it comes to our spine.
I don't think so. Hey, I look at the don't get me wrong, Dylan Edwards. Love what he brings to a footy side. He's gonna.
You can't compare Dylan Edwards with Callan Ponga. They're completely 2 different players. You know
exactly the creativity that Callan Ponga brings.
Yep.
The creativity Munster brings. All Ches has to do is basically square up 4 or 5 men, give the ball to those boys.
But is that too much creativity? Are you going to force your hand too much?
Well, they're proven though. They're absolutely proven in the Origin arena.
Yeah, but when you've got too many creative players. Everyone wants to try and do something, you're playing with high consequences here.
Mark my words, Queensland will win and Callan Ponga will be man of the match.
You hear that? All right, let's put a wager on it. All right, now next show, Loser has to wear the opposite jersey.
Oh, not for that long, though.
No, just for the show.
I wouldn't fit into that.
I wouldn't fit in that.
No, you wouldn't. I'm not saying you would.
Well, that makes it even funnier. How about this? I'll wear the cane toad hat. You wear my New South Wales hat. Okay,
done.
we'll do that. We'll do that.
Jersey's a bit far-fetched because that actually makes me angry seeing that shit.
Yeah. I think as well, Jerome Luai was, just missing out.
I think they picked the right halves combination.
I think so too.
Don't get me wrong. Great halves. I just think Munster and Cherry Evans in the Origin Arena, I think it scares them.
And it's still a bit of an experiment. Like we have to see how Moses and Cleary will fare with each other. And, it's obviously proven with Cleary and Luai together in the spine.
No, that was Moses and Luai last year.
I'm talking about, if you're talking about from young juniors, junior level to obviously NRL level, they've won 4 grand finals and been in 5. But
this is actually quite an intriguing game, hey, looking at these players. Like looking at the team list together, I feel like they're so different. And it's quite an intriguing matchup, Saucy.
Well, let's wait and see, because I already can see you wearing the New South Wales hat, so let's just move along.
Now, Saucy, I got a topic for you. Now, Laurie Daley, is he under more pressure than Billy Slater?
No, I reckon Billy's got more pressure on his shoulders. I'll tell you what, let me speak. Everyone's going to go back and say, oh, you know what, Laurie Daley had his chance. He dropped the ball. We got smacked by Queensland dynasty, whatever, right? But he was up against arguably the best footy side ever put together.
Yeah, agreed.
In history. So, and I was unfortunate for me that I had to come up against that Queensland team. But when you think about it, there was so many series that I think it was only 2 points or a field goal that decided the series for Queensland. So we gave it to them. So back to
that excuse, but Origin's best of the best. It's meant to be best of the best.
I get what you're saying. But listen, let's cut the bloke some slack. Let's cut the bloke some slack. You guys had Billy Slater, Cooper Cronk, Cameron Smith, Jonathan Thurston, Matt Scott, Lockyer. Piss off. Like seriously, you guys had how many immortals in that one team, right? And he almost beat you on a couple of occasions. Yeah, you guys went on a bit of a winning streak, all right. But I feel like Billy has more pressure on his shoulders. You guys had that series wrapped up. You guys, game 3 in Queensland, the probability of winning that game for New South Wales were very slim. And we cut you guys deep. And you're telling me that Billy Slater wasn't rattled? You look at last year's press conferences. He was rattled.
Can't remember.
Yeah, of course you can't, because you can't remember what happened round 6. But anyway, I believe Billy's got a lot of pressure on his shoulders. And if he loses game 1 in Queensland, mate, you can't tell me there's a lot of scar tissue in the back.
As everyone says, New South Wales are always top dogs. Apparently Queensland.
You know what? I know what your Queens are going to do. I know what your Queens are going to do, because you do it every single series. You want to play the underdog tag, and that's fine. I'm giving it to you, but I'm just saying that Billy has a lot of pressure on his shoulders. Yes.
Laurie Daley is coming in now. I get your argument with the playing against the teams back then. Totally agree. They were the greatest team put together. No doubts whatsoever. But he's coming into a side now where they are apparently convincingly much better than this Queensland side. How is he not under pressure to make that team perform well after coming off last year's series?
Yep.
Winning game 2 and 3 and doing the unthinkable at Suncorp? Why shouldn't he be able to do that with the side that he has? Because it's very, very similar to last year.
Well, he's back coaching after several years absence from the game. So
he still has nightmares about Queensland, no doubt.
Yeah, but it's a fresh start for him. Like he's not coming up against the players like I said before, Cameron Smith, Cooper Cronk, and the rest, and co.
I don't get how you think Billy's under more pressure in the sense that when did he come into the
Billy? You guys lose
22, 23.
You lose game 1 in Brisbane. You guys are under a lot of pressure.
You reckon it's done then?
I reckon you lose game 1, the series is wrapped up. Done.
Wrapped? Yeah.
Done.
How confident are you though?
Well, put it this way, right? You guys had the series.
You're going to doubt a Queensland side. You're
Let me tell you,
ever going to doubt a Queensland side.
You guys beat us game 1 last year. Tell me you weren't confident of taking out the series last year.
Never confident. Never confident. You should be confident in your ability, yes.
But so you weren't confident playing game 3 in Queensland that you guys had that series wrapped up?
I thought it was more than likely, yes.
Aha! There it is. There it is.
Confidence is a very different thing to, I thought we were more than likely going to win.
Okay. Well, there you go. So you guys have now first run up. You guys are playing in Queensland.
Okay. Laurie Daley apparently has, out of compare the sides. How many of them would you pick compared to Queensland side?
What do you mean?
How many of the players? So if you were to go through 1 to 17,
Yep.
how many of the New South Wales players would you pick? How many of the Queensland players would you pick? And who should win?
Okay,
on paper?
I'll definitely pick Dylan Edwards over Kalen Ponga. And I know I'm going to get a bit of flack for that, but that's just my personal opinion. I think the way that I want to build my team, I feel like I need someone that's very good with defense principles with Dylan Edwards. I need someone that's going to carry the ball
How do you
hard out of
know
yardage.
Kalen Ponga's not good with defensive principles?
Well, you know what?
Have you
Maybe
played
he
with
is.
him?
Maybe he is. But
Have
I
you played
want.
with him?
But he's not good coming out of yardage.
And is he being coached by the best fullback to play the game?
He is.
Defensively and in attack.
All right. So there should be no excuse going into this game that Kalen Ponga will have his best game.
I'm telling you,
year.
man of the match, brother. Man of the match.
Man of the match.
I'm already calling it right now. If Queensland are to win, Kalen Ponga's going to kill it.
Okay. Okay.
And obviously Munster, because he's scared.
Let's just agree to disagree. I still stick to my word that Billy Slater's got more pressure on his shoulders. I think he's still got a lot of head noise from last series' loss. I think there's scar tissue there that's going to be recut open. And
I think the thing that's going to rattle Laurie Daley is all those nightmares Queensland are giving him.
But mate, he's been gone from the game for quite a while. So
Yeah, I reckon he's still having nightmares.
like he'll have, hey, listen, Billy, Laurie, there's going to be nerves regardless.
He's having nightmares not only about the Queensland side, but the coach as well, who used to give him nightmares.
All right, let's just roll into our next topic. The Blues no longer fear Queensland at Suncorp Stadium.
I just read this on a piece of paper and it's fire. That pisses me off, mate.
Why?
Who actually come up with this though? I know the wording is no longer, but tell me you didn't. Fear's probably a broad word.
Yeah, I don't think it's fear, but
It's
I
a bit of self-doubt. 100% going up to Queensland, there's a bit of self-doubt. You probably wouldn't be thinking of it, but I know for a fact, if you're in that New South Wales side, deep down in that dark place of yours, just triggered in that brain, there's a bit of self-doubt in there. Because it is and you would know, it is such a hard place to go to and play.
Listen, I remember playing in Queensland for Game 2 in the 2016 series, and listen, I was nervous. You know, I know we lost the first game, so we needed to win that second game. And obviously coming up against those kind of guys, yeah, I was nervous. I was. But at the same time, like I couldn't wait to get out there. So I actually took that as a challenge. But the only thing I'm worried about is because we beat you guys Game 3 last year, that confidence will make us a little bit complacent. So that's the only thing I'm worried about. So I feel like last year, Game 3, with so much at stake, nerves would have been high, a lot of emotions. But because we won that game, we'll be going more confident Game 1 this series.
Yeah, I get that part. And I reckon it'll be spoken about by Billy, is the fact that that's it. This is our home. We allowed.
See what I mean? Like classic Queenslanders. You want the underdog tag as much as you can.
We allowed these pricks to come into our home and
Can I say something? Do you guys play on the underdog tag? Yes or no?
No, absolutely not.
Don't you?
Absolutely not. Why would we go on pretend? Why would we go and pretend that we're the underdogs when the amount of quality in that side is more than likely it can get the job done?
Hey, my point. When we played against guys like
I wasn't saying that we
those great names, and you guys still play as the underdog.
I'm saying all these wankers out in the media play that we're the underdog tag because they genuinely
wankers. They're your journalists. They're preaching what you're saying from above past the border.
You reckon we say that we're the underdogs?
100%. You guys always play the underdog. Look at it. Look at it. Listen, 2020 series.
I got a headache.
2020 series, you guys, Paul Gallen, we can thank him for that, said you guys were the worst Queensland side ever. Did you guys not use that to your advantage?
No, we didn't.
Oh!
There's only one simple thing to put to your advantage. Yeah, we probably got away with the game.
I'll tell you right now, if I was a coach, I would have that played over and over again.
Going into Suncorp in a decider, it's not that hard to get up for.
True or false? Did you guys use what Paul Gallen said in the video room?
Was not even fucking brought up like in the video.
Was it not brought up once?
No, Wayne did not bring it up once. It was like, say the boys had like seen it and spoken about it. But it was not brought up saying that we were the worst Queensland team ever. We made jokes and giggled about it because it was obviously a piss take. When you can compare a side like that to the side you played against, all the goats and shit like that.
Yeah.
But the rest of it, it's not even applicable at the moment.
So when Daley took the
5
shield,
years ago.
when Daley was presented the shield and said, you know what, and thank you on behalf of the worst Queensland. So it wasn't in the back of his mind, obviously.
Actually, that's one of the most quick-witted things that I've ever heard.
Oh, fuck off. That's bullshit. Oh, mate, that is such bullshit. Anyway, and you know it.
No, we did not use it at all. If you think that we need, or the Queensland side needs something like that to fuel.
You need any edge you can get in State of Origin, and you know it. You're saying it's a completely different beast. So
Yes,
obviously,
but
you need any edge.
It is not that
1%,
hard to
2%.
get up. It is not that hard to get up for an Origin game. Surely, if you need to listen to the outside noise and you need to find motivation in a New South Welshman for them to say something wrong about the side, then you should not be playing.
Say that wasn't said by Paul Gallen, right? Say it wasn't said. Do you think you guys wouldn't come out of the blocks even harder?
I'll tell you why we weren't going to lose that game. Is because when Wayne Bennett walks into the meeting in the video room and says, we are not fucking losing this game, and you are not losing it for me. What do you think your mindset's going to be? Yeah, no chance I want to lose this game from Wayne Bennett. Why would I want to worry about the outside noise of what a New South Welshman says?
I'm just saying you use it as
I think that Bill, it will be a motivation factor in the sense that they came up to Queensland last year and it's our home, it's our state, we need to be better than this. Yes, that is a motivational factor. Will it be spoken about every single day?
Not every single day, but you use that as motivation. You use that as motivation?
Yes, absolutely.
Ah, there it is.
No.
There it is.
It'll be a motivational factor.
Oh, there it is.
But the sense that they are playing a State of Origin at Suncorp in front of their home crowd, and you know what it's like to play up there, it is the best place to play rugby league.
For Queenslander.
No way. Actually, that's a question.
We can move on after we just... Listen, I reckon we beat you game one. The fifth factor is without a doubt gone, I reckon. Like, we won't be scared to face you in Queensland.
Okay, I get that sense,
Stadium.
but I still reckon there's...
Yes,
I wouldn't say the word
there's nervous energy. There's always nervous energy. There's always nervous energy. There's always nervous energy going into State of Origin, any game, right?
Because they are lunatics up there, and...
Yeah, and you're a lunatic. But, what did you want to ask me?
So you're telling me you would rather play a game of State of Origin, a decider at ANZ or Suncorp?
Listen, I'm going to say New South Wales and ANZ.
No.
Accor Stadium, sorry, Accor. I'll say Accor Stadium.
Is that because you're obviously New South Wales?
Well, imagine winning in front of your home fans. Like,
no, say you're in neutral territory.
Okay. I'm in neutral territory.
Yep. Would you rather play for Queensland and Queensland or New South Wales and New South Wales?
No, New South Wales and New South Wales.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes, I would.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes, I would.
Everyone wants to play in Suncorp.
Who's everyone? Who's everyone? Who?
Everyone in this world.
See, typical Queenslander. Thinks they're fucking right about everything. Fucking, let's move on. Fucking, you've done my head in already.
All right. Anyway, Sauce, relax. Final part. Let's talk about how this game will be panned out. Give us a score and your man of the match.
I think it'll be a low-scoring game. Leading up to this game, I feel like we'll play very passively. Like, we won't show our cards too early. We'll have a couple of shots at you, but I think we'll get into a grind very early to try and sap the energy out of you guys. Obviously, we've got like 5 Penrith Panther boys in there, so the way they play is a grinding style mentality. So what that means is we'll get you in an arm wrestle. We'll go set for set. We'll kick early. We'll pin you down in the corner, and we'll make guys like Xavier Coates and Valentine Holmes bring it out of yardage, and Kalen Ponga, which is not your strength. So I think we'll kick early. We'll bash you guys in your own half, and then once we capitalise on you guys for turning over the ball, which I feel like you guys will do that, that's when we'll throw the first punch. And I feel like once we get an early lead, we'll stick to that process over and over again. Keep sapping your energy, keep waiting for you guys to turn the ball over. And I reckon we win 18-6.
18-6. I think there'll be more points scored.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I think both teams have points all over the park. And you speak about the back 5, about coming out of our own end. I reckon that works to our advantage, to be honest. Val Holmes and Xavier Coates. Yeah. Great carries of the ball.
I agree with Val.
I've never seen Xavier Coates been running so hard at the moment.
Yeah, he has been running hard, but the downside of Xavier is because he's so tall, he can get stuck into him.
He's strong. He's stronger than you think.
Okay.
I think he's put a lot more size on.
Oh.
I think he's I don't know what they've done to him in Melbourne, but he's genuinely off the back fence, yardage carries. Val's so fast on his feet. Toia is strong. Hammer's speed, obviously, I think that scares people in the sense that, is he going to come through me or is he going to go around me? So it puts you in two minds. You got Kalen Ponga, who's a much bigger body than everyone thinks. And I think with the strike that both sides have, I do think that there'll be a lot more points scored than, say, 18-6.
Okay. I'm
personally going to lean towards Queensland obviously win. And I'm honestly going to say it'll be a 22-18, 22-20 win.
Yep.
And I said it before, mark my words, punters, Kalen Ponga man of the match.
Okay. Well, we're not sponsored by any betting agencies. So
we should be,
yeah, we never know. We need some money. I think the worst thing Queensland can do is play the same game as New South Wales. I feel like whenever there's an opportunity for them to strike, they need to.
That is another thing I was meant to bring up. There will be a lot of traffic down
Latrell side.
Both edges.
Oh, listen, I've got full faith in the world, in Stephen Crichton, Brian Toia, Latrell, Zach Lomax. Like, I feel like our edges, like that's probably the best edge you can put on paper in the NRL currently. Like, if I was to look at the 1 to 5, I would keep New South Wales 1 to 5 over the Queensland 1 to 5 any day of the week, any day. That's my personal opinion.
You don't think Xavier Coates?
Nah, I'm keeping Brian Toia. He's probably the best yardage carrier of the ball. He obviously racks up the meters there. Yes, Xavier has got one thing over Brian, and that's his height over aerial kicks. Okay, I get that. But then Brian can make up with that and he can, execute on grubber kicks. Like, I'll just say that. But no doubt in the world, they're going to kick to Xavier if he's marking up against
exactly.
Brian. But
they're going to exploit his size.
But he's tried that last time. It didn't work. So what, he's going to do that again? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Again, I feel like if you guys are ever situated around 40, coming out of yardage, I reckon you guys will always be in an attacking shape where, you know what, I feel like New South Wales will be comfortable just taking another settler, getting over the 50, boom, kick it to the corner, bash you in the corner, and then...
So they're going to play that boring style?
It works.
If it works, yeah. No, agreed.
I
totally agree.
Worked for them for 4 or 5 years.
I think for some cases, for both sides, they're going to have to play boring.
You have to.
Boring.
Well, you know, like in the first 10, 15 minutes of the game, you're not going to show your cards early. Because if you do, then you can kind of preempt what's going to come at you.
Well, the first 10 is obviously the most physical. So you do have to cop your medicine.
Yep.
You do have to complete well. You do have to make your tackles. I totally agree. But as the game starts to break open and fatigue starts to build in, I think you bring the likes of Tommy Dearden on. I really feel like he's going to play in that middle role.
Yeah.
Ball playing ability. He's got an unbelievable show and go. And once fatigue builds into that middle and those edges, I can see Tommy Dearden coming on and running amok.
But then I argue that. Then we've got the likes of Connor Watson coming and exploiting the ruck. I can then see Spencer Leniu coming off the back fence. And
I'm actually interested. I look at that. Everyone speaks about, Leniu and even Hudson Young and Max King. I'm intrigued to see how many minutes those three get.
Okay. Well,
I feel like obviously Max and Spencer are obviously going to have to be those first two interchanges because they're specialist middle forwards.
Yep.
Well, where does Hudson Young, where does he go? Zayo, who's their captain, he's not coming off, I can guarantee you that. It's weird to interchange two back rows. Usually back rows play 80 minutes.
Yep.
And Payne Haas can play 80. Mitch Barnett can play 80. So I'm actually intrigued to see how is Laurie going to utilise his bench as much as possible because I feel like Spencer brings a lot of punch off the bench, but how long is it going to be for?
20 minutes, 25 minutes, I reckon, depending on how the game's going. If it's a grinding style of game, that's not Spencer's
So you bring Connor Watson on, yeah, I agree with that, but I don't think those other boys are going to get many minutes.
Listen, Harry Grant, he's coming back from injury. What is he, 1 or 2 games back from injury? So he's not fully conditioned. So if you're expecting Harry Grant to play full 80 minutes of footy, like a game 1 of State of Origin, he's going to struggle. It's natural.
These days hookers are meant to be fit.
Yes,
and he's meant to be one of the fittest out there.
Oh,
I'm sure he's more.
Look who he's defending. He's defending a Barnett. He's defending Payne Haas. He's got Stephen Crichton, Brian Thorpe, Zach Lomax.
He's a
Dylan
seasoned
Edwards,
player.
The best.
Mate, he's a seasoned player. He's done it before.
I'm telling you right now, if you're looking at New South Wales and Queensland on paper, if we're looking at ball carriers alone, we've got the better ball carriers, stronger punch.
For the first time ever, I probably agree with you in the sense that obviously Harry hasn't had much footy. And who does play 9? Now, do you move Ruben Cotter to 9 if touch wood?
No, you're not moving Ruben Cotter. No.
You put Tommy Dearden?
Or have to be.
Do you move Cotter to 9 and then bring Bo Firmer on? It's the same with Bowie and
Billy's banking on Harry Grant playing 80 minutes. I'm telling you right now. Or he's going to have to.
But I can tell you this: he's always got a plan.
Yeah, of course, same as Laurie. Like both coaches got a plan, but it's who executes it on Wednesday night.
It's very, very intriguing matchup. Yeah, there's so many questions. But thank God.
We've got it all on video, mate. So, whoever wins, either you wear that, just leave it there. Might as well leave it there. Might as well try it on now for size.
But you want to wear these.
I don't want to wear that. God knows where that's been. Is that the same one from the interview you did 2020?
No, because there's some rude people in my life that decided to ruin the other one.
What happened again? Was I there? Was that Mad Monday?
Rude people
in
my life.
That was Mad Monday.
Yes.
You share one?
No, I can't.
Why not?
Let's just say it got ruined on Mad Monday one day. Because...
absolute debauchery. Just put it that way. Anyway, I think that's a wrap, mate. Kicked off the first ever show of Unscripted. Great to have you, Jai. And, mate, hopefully we'll see you next time. It's
good to see you, Saucy. It's good arguing with you as per usual. So, I miss you, mate.
Yeah. Well, I hope to see you in game 2, mate. But if you're not, we'll definitely be reviewing game 1. And if you're picked for game 2, all the best, yeah?